Hello, dearest friends, dearest beautiful co-creator souls of love and light. This is Nanari, Princess of the Sea, coming to you with a new video. In this video, I want to expand upon something that I have explained in many different ways in all of my videos here on YouTube. In doing a specific essence about something called compassionate listening. You've heard me talk about it many times, as I said in my videos, and when I've been on the air, on radio, and in my various articles I've written and things of that nature. And it recently came to light of a video that I saw recently, and it sparked within me doing something a bit more specific on just this topic. Thich Naht Hahn is all about compassionate listening. And I've spoken about that before. And if you Google Thich Naht Hahn, you can watch some of his videos on YouTube or read some of his works. I deeply resonate on many of his works of his ways of being, mindful, meditation, many things. And one of those things is compassionate listening. So I did some journaling about it, and I want to share it with you and just expand upon that journaling and speaking about it. Because isn't it interesting? I don't know if you hear it, but the winds of change are blowing as I'm doing this video right now. Song upon the winds. Indeed. Thank you. Thank you, Spirit of the Wind. The gift of love. It's quite beautiful. Isn't it interesting how we can often moments listen compassionately to another whom we are free from knowing, yet we are somehow unable to do so with our more intimate relationships, or even our most intimate relationships. Why is that? Well, first, I'll make the disclaimer and say that in truth, none of us are free from knowing each other. None of us are strangers. We are all connected. We are all one. And really, at the deepest, corest level, there is actually only one of us here. The many within the one within the many. For there is only one infinite consciousness expressed itself in many individual consciousnesses in physical form, body form, animal form, plant form. There's really only one of us here, one infinite expression of what we call God, Source, all that is. But why is that? That we can compassionately listen to that of what we consider a stranger or someone we don't know, but yet we're unable to listen deeply, compassionately, in our most deepest relationships. It is because in those relationships we allow our ego and our emotions to get the better of us. What if the way we listen to a stranger, that we could listen that way in all our relationships? That compassionate listening that Thich Nhat Hahn talks about. Listening in a resonance of vibration that is of non-judgment, of total unconditional acceptance for where another is at and honoring them for where they are, even if we're free from resonating with where they are. Of allowing another to be where they are in the moment without attempting to change or fix them, or without an emotional charge or reaction to what is said. In my second book, Stepping into Spiritual Oneness, that I published 8 years ago, I speak about what true compassion is, of the wisdom of the master artists that came through me, that compassion is exactly what I just shared, which is allowing another to be who they are and where they are on the journey without attempting to change or fix them. And now in further growth, I add, without having an emotional charge to what is being said. Now, this is free from meaning that we are free from caring about what is being shared. Of course we do care, deeply, especially in our most intimate relationships. We care deeply about what the other person is saying to us. It is that we become detached in the sense that we are just free from being attached to the feeling that we're being attacked by what someone is saying. We're free from taking it personally within us and being emotionally charged by it. Now, in actuality, you're probably thinking, well, yeah, sure, how do I go about doing that when someone is saying, you did this and you did that and what have you? It's free from being easy to do. I know in my own personal life that with all my intimate relationships, for the most part, I have the ability to do that. There was one particular person in my life who occasionally he would push my buttons. And I had to take a step back and realize on a deeper level that it was about him and his sharing. That it wasn't really that he was attacking me. It was that he had all of this emotion and things going on within him that he was attempting to heal, and he was trying to bring that out for healing. And he just wanted to be heard. So compassionate listening means we are to be still within the mind chatter that goes on, that is urging us and compelling us to want to attack or to want to respond immediately when someone is saying something, to just really hear them. Rather than attempting to want to fight back or be mean or be cruel or have to come back with this immediate response. Because that wanting to come from that immediate response, that's the programming that's within us. That is flight or fight mode of the reptilian brain. That's free from being who we are. Who we are as soul, who we are as love, who we are as infinite consciousness, is that loving acceptance that just hearing someone share it. It's almost as if with your intimate relationships, if you can just imagine for a moment that the person who's coming to you with it, even though if they're saying you did this and you did that, see it as if they are a stranger. I mean, I have this happen to me all the time where, I'll be walking and I'll go into an office building or whatever if I have an appointment, and I'm in the elevator and I'll strike up a conversation with someone and they're telling me their life story about how they were hurt and the pain that they went through. And yes, I may be upset that they are hurting and I may be upset at the person who hurt them, but I don't get an emotional charge with it. I'm detached in that sense. And I just hear them. And I empathize with them and let them know that I hear them. I hear their pain. And to know that I'm here for them. And that's all our intimate relationships, that's all the people that are closest to us want to know, is that they're heard and that they're loved and that they're accepted, even if you are free from agreeing with them. It means, compassionate listening means moving from the mind and into the heart. Because compassionate listening is who we really are. The ego, the mind, wants to hurt and lash out when someone is coming to us saying things. Instead, I invite you to see the message behind the message. Because everything is either a call for love or love itself expressing. When someone is coming to you and sharing something with you, and it appears that they're attacking you and saying you did this or you did that, or you hurt me when you said this, or what have you, what they're really saying to you, and you hearing the message behind the message, hearing the message behind the message is listening to the vibration, the unsaid within the said. And when they're saying those things, it is because they're hurting within them that has them lash out. It's not you necessarily that they're upset with. They're hurting within them. And so to release that is the greatest gift you can give, is to allow someone to release it without lashing back out. And to understand in compassion that that's where they are right now. And it's free from meaning that it's forever. In my own life, I had this happen with the person that I was sharing earlier about. He would say certain things and it would trigger my emotions. And my thoughts were running rampant and thinking, oh my God, this means it's forever. This is how he feels forever and it'll never change. No. As human beings, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And in having that human experience, we remember, embrace, and soulfully treasure the spiritual being that we are. And within that, we have a flow of emotions like a river. And we're infinitely changing. So what is true right now in this moment of what someone's words are, the vibration underneath it is what you are to hear. And that's free from being forever. The only constant that never changes is love itself. Everything else is a river, is a flow, and even love itself is a river and a flow. It has crescendos and falls, waterfalls and rivers that flow to the sea. And within these flow of emotions, we say things when we're expressing things full out, as I shared in one of my more recent videos. We feel an expression full out like a child who has a tantrum. Just feel it full out, right? And then come back into love a few minutes later as that child, as I shared in the other video a few videos ago. So in that tantrum that child is angry in that moment, it's not forever, it's just in that moment. And I kept resisting that moment and saying, well, no, I know in my heart that, what you're saying is not true and this and that and whatever, and I would argue. And the moment you do that, you're dishonoring the person that you love. That person is just coming and saying, look, this is how I feel right now. Doesn't mean that it's forever. So I invite you to honor where a person is at, and honor where you're at too, as well. As we honor each other, even if we're free from agreeing with what is said, even if you know that what the person is saying to you in your heart isn't true. Like, say, for instance, as an example, if someone comes and says, you were just so mean, you were so cruel, I can't believe you said that to me, and what have you. Yet you know what you were saying. In your heart, you didn't mean it to be cruel. You were just upset and hurting at that time. And in your heart, in the deepest heart of hearts, the message behind the message was just that you were hurting. And you know that that's free from being who you are. That who you are is a being of love. So even when that person is coming to you and saying, you were mean and you were cruel, in your heart you know you're not a mean and cruel person. But accept where they are for right now and just say, okay, I hear you. I understand that you feel that I was being mean and cruel. And then take that within you and within others when they say things to you, and realize that's free from being who you are, because even in the most heinous of things that we do to each other, underneath all of it is love, because that is who we really are. And so when we're able to see behind, through, around all of those hurtful things to the core, to the soul of who we really are, and seeing that in another, to know that when they hurt us, we are actually the ones who are choosing to be hurt. And at the same moment, they are hurting within themselves. And we can see through that to their heart. And to see at the heart of it all that they're a really good, beautiful, amazing person, amazing soul, just like you are. That's compassionate listening. Really listening to the heart, listening to the soul, listening behind the hurt and the pain to the vibration of who they really are, which is love. And being a vibrational match to that love that you know is inside of them and is also inside of you. That's compassionate listening. When we are able to be this, it is the greatest gift of love that we can ever give another and ourselves. In my new book, Soul, Song of Universal Love, Song of Universal Love is, if you know Song of the Troubadour and Song of the Princess, at the end of Song of the Troubadour and Song of the Princess, when their union occurs of their wedding, it is written that if allowed for the master artist to come through both the troubadour and the princess, that their greatest works would yet to be created together. So Song of Universal Love, Soul, is what the troubadour and the princess would say together in union as one with the master artist. Being radical lovers in these radical times, and sharing that radical love between each other and with all, in what it means to really be a soul and to live as a soul in physical form. And within that book, and within compassionate listening, there is a prayer And I'm going to read it to you in just a moment. Because compassionate listening is about just being with another, just sitting there and being with them, whether it's physically being with them on the phone. Now in this day and age of electronics, texting or emailing even, connecting heart to heart, soul to soul, and just being with another, even telepathically, energetically being together. Compassionate listening is about allowing another to empty their heart fully, to say whatever it is that they need to say to you, free from reacting to what they are sharing, because you understand and know that it is free from being about you. It is about the person who is you in essence, because that person who is sharing is you, the mirror of you, because we are all one. And at the same moment, it is allowing that soul to be who they are in the moment, expressing the feelings within them without attempting to change or fix them. People at times, at moments, they listen to another in order so that they may respond. It's almost as if when you're in the mind and you're listening, you're trying to take in what someone is saying so that you can formulate a response in your mind to be able to say something right away in response. That's the way we've all been programmed. We've all been indoctrinated to listen. When we're listening compassionately, compassionate listening is simply allowing another to empty their heart, fully hearing what they're saying, without trying to formulate some sort of response, and without attempting to respond in an attacking manner if they're attacking you as they're emptying their heart. When another is allowed to simply just share their heart, and you are free from reacting, and then you can take it within you in silence. You know, Buddha was once quoted as saying that when someone comes to you in anger, tell them that you will respond to them 24 hours from now, rather than responding in that moment, because it gives you time to take within you what was said and to calm down if you're feeling triggered emotionally by what was said, and to really hear the message behind the message, and then respond in love. Sometimes it's good to wait that 24 hours or longer. But the more you are in a resonance, a vibrational match to compassionate listening, it becomes natural, because it really is natural. It is our true nature. And then you are free from having to wait 24 hours or longer to respond, because you respond in love. Because when you can allow another to totally empty their heart, even if they are kicking and screaming in anger at you, and you can respond to them in love in return, that is the greatest gift of love that you can ever give someone. And I'd like to share a story from my life of being compassionate listening. As I have been in that place of compassionate listening for many, many years now, my whole life really. Although I did go through a resonance many years ago when I was in a lot of anger within myself, and so I was lashing out, and I've had periods of doing that over the years too. But each moment I come back full circle to that love and compassionate listening. And I can remember, oh, it had to be probably about 15 years ago now, I guess, in my, what I say is my former life, when I was doing the earthly job and I was teaching grade 3 reading. And I've shared this story before when I've been on the air. I don't believe I've shared it here on YouTube video, so I'm doing so now. But I had a young boy in grade 3 when I was teaching who they would label in fear today as probably dyslexic and ADD, ADHD, and whatnot. And you've heard me say this on the air and in various um, videos and stuff and whatnot. All ADHD is, and dementia and all of those labels are nothing more than just being more connected spiritually. This young boy, he was 8 or 9, and he was a grade 1 reading level. And he was a very angry soul. And whenever he would come into my reading group and I was teaching, he would be very disruptive. And really, what he needed to be was out in nature and experiencing the beauty of being connected with Mother Earth, Princess Gaia. And yet we were cooped up in this room, classroom, teaching reading. And so he would get very angry and he would stomp his feet and he would yell and scream and, disrupt the class and, disrupt the group and everything else. And sometimes he'd even come and stomp on my feet and yell at me and punch me. And, he was very, very angry child. And one day, I just intuitively felt called, compelled. It just, Source was guiding me to do this. I grabbed him, not hard, just grabbed him like a gentle grab, like you're going to hug someone. I went and grabbed him into my arms, took him in my arms and just held him. And I kept holding him and I was just rocking him back and forth and saying, Nathan, it's okay. It's okay, Nathan. I love you. It's okay. You can do this. Because he was struggling so much about reading, he felt he couldn't do it. And he just sat there and he emptied his heart out. And when he first started, he was flailing around and kicking and screaming. And it was all I could do with my strength to hold him still, in my arms. But I just kept holding him and I was rocking him back and forth and just saying, I love you and it's okay. And you can do this. I know you can. You're amazing. And I just kept saying that like a mantra over and over and over again to him. And he continued for a long time. It felt like forever, when you're in one of those moments. But for a long time, he kept kicking and screaming and saying, I can't do it. And you're the world's worst teacher. And I hate you. And I mean, tons of anger came pouring out of him. I had no emotional reaction. I wasn't triggered. I didn't punish him. Because often when we get someone who's doing something like that, we will punish. Because they're hurting us, we got to hurt them back. I did none of that. I saw him as the inner wounded child that he was, and I just kept holding him and loving him and rocking him and saying, it's okay, Nathan, I love you. It's okay, you can do it. I know you can. And finally, after what seemed like forever, he finally just kind of let out this, and he just started to cry. And cry and cry, and he just released. And there were just no words, and I just kept holding him, and I just kept saying that mantra over and over again, and I was stroking his head, telling him how much I loved him, telling him how much I knew he could do it, and how amazing he was. And after he finally emptied his heart, and every tear was shed, he finally looked up at me, and he smiled. And then he just got up from my arms, he went back, sat down in the chair, and from that point on, I was only there teaching for a couple more months because I then subsequently quit. And maybe I'll share later why in another video. But before I quit, those couple of months, he excelled. He went from a grade 1 reading level all the way up to grade 5 reading level when I left. That is the power of compassionate listening. That is the power of love. Love changes everything. Compassionate listening changes everything. So I invite you in your intimate relationships and with everyone, and including yourself. When another is lashing out at you, see them as that inner wounded child that's hurting and just wants to be loved. And even if you can't physically hold that person like I did with Nathan, hold them in your heart. Hold them in your heart in compassionate listening, even when they're screaming at you and yelling at you. Even when you are free from agreeing. Hear them. Be compassionate with yourself. Hear yourself. And know that wherever you're at is okay. Wherever another person is okay. And just like what happened with Nathan, it didn't last forever. It was only in that moment. And that gave him the wings to fly. And honestly, even after all these years later, I still think on that with tears of love. Tears of love and joy. That I was able to give him that gift of love and that gift of freedom. It's forever etched in my heart, and I will never forget Nathan. He's now grown, of course. But I will never forget him and the gift that he, in essence, gave to me. Because he taught me how to be that compassionate listener. And so this prayer, this affirmation, affirmative prayer, in thanksgiving, appreciation, and healing, I would like to read to you. And maybe you can close your eyes and just listen, or look into my eyes and feel the essence of it. And allow it to touch your heart deeply in healing your own heart. And may it be a gift that you can give to another as well. Dearest soul within the body, please know that I hear you. I feel your pain. I hear your suffering. I am here for you as you empty your heart of your pain so that you can come to remember who you really are, which is love itself. Know I am here for you, holding you in compassion, in love. I am listening, holding space for you in remembrance of who you really are. And I offer you this prayer. There is one universal heart, and that is God, love, source itself. It is within this same universal heart that we hold you in upliftment and love you. Healing is sent in this moment, in this understanding, that right where you are, so too God is, love is, healing is. Seeing you as whole, perfect, complete, and beautiful, just as you are, and already and always healed, allowing whatever is to be, allowing God, Source, the Master Artist, to fill you with loving healing light, to guide you however, wherever you are meant to go and be. Seeing you in this light so that you too have right seeing in this same light. There is nothing to be healed, only love to be revealed. In this now, you balance all your life's structures with thought, feeling, and intent, bringing health, wholeness, abundance, shining through as your life. In thanksgiving, appreciation, and gratitude, this affirmative prayer is now given. So be it. It is done. So it is. Amen. Espada.